Okay, hi everyone. My name is Claudia, and today I'm very excited to be here, and I want to thank all the organization of Women Techmakers Montreal for inviting me here to share to you how to access grants and subsidies, what I call free money. Any of you have ever applied for a grant or a subsidy through a company? Yes? And for contest, grants, subsidies?
Yes, for wage subsidy.
Wage subsidy, yeah.
And also for SR&ED credit.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And the other person, yes? Okay, yeah. Okay, so that gives me a good idea of what you guys know. So I'm Claudia. I started knowing about grants and subsidies through founding two companies. The first one I applied to a contest. It was many years ago, and the second one, Ex-Ventus, I managed to raise roughly $13 for every dollar that I had in sales, which is a pretty good ratio. Probably small numbers, but a good ratio of free money. I became very good at understanding the map of where the money is, how to get it, and out of this I built a method for finding it. I'm also a co-founder of Women in Tech Manifesto, which is Chloe, Chloe, one of the co-founders, and Laurence is also a co-founder, and which is a call for parity in events and conferences. So feel free to check it out. I decided when I started building this proposal, I looked a little bit at numbers, and I work in cleantech. And I found one of the main subsidies, which is from the federal government, has 6% of its money going to female founders. So to me, it matches the rest of the numbers, but to me, this is symptomatic of a problem. And there are a few studies out there showing the differences between men and women. And one from Canada says that women are more likely to run small businesses. There's a gap between the level of innovation in female-founded companies versus male-founded companies, and women are less likely to go for international trade. So I believe subsidies might not solve the problem, but subsidies could be part of the solution. So I'm going to cover the full spectrum of free money. And I divided it in two. One is contests. The first one is contests. The second one is subsidies through projects. Okay, so contests it's 100% money. There's an amount of money. You get it, and you're free to dispose of it the way you want. Typically under $25,000, and you submit it. You get it through submitting typically a business plan into various forms. The other one, subsidies, is through projects or through operations, of regular operations. They range from $25,000 and they can go up to $3 million. They typically cover 25 to 80% of your expenses. So you put $1 and then the subsidy or the grant is going to give you part of that dollar. But they'll never refund the full dollar that you spend. So higher risk and higher commitment. If you don't have money, you cannot apply to these subsidies. So when and why should you look for free money? This is from the Fail Camp. Etienne Crevier from Biogenic in the Fail Camp, which is an event built around failure. So people express what were their failures. His failure was that he had spent too much time applying to contests and not looking for clients. And I experienced this myself, but there are economics of a proposal that we can look and then decide if yes or no we're losing our time applying to a contest. And basically it's calculating the cost of opportunity that it costs you to apply to a contest. And for me, for example, in the first column, I've put numbers. When I started my second business, I was on maternity leave. I was working 2 hours a day while my kids were sleeping, and I had no salary. So my salary was zero. I was not considering myself to be an entrepreneur. I was just building a project. And this also is it's a good reflection of what your time is valued. So I was valuing myself at $0, which revealed another problem, was that I was doing that. But anyways, these were my economics. Forecasted sales. In my business plan, I had $10,000. And here I add probability of winning a contest, which is very, very low. Okay? And then probability of winning a subsidy is much higher. And I add in this is exclusively for the contest, the complete list of the business plan. What Etienne Crevier mentioned also in his conference was that he was doing this because he was searching for validation. And this is not wrong, looking for validation, but your numbers have to show it. So you have to put a value to validation. So first contest I applied, my investment in time was worth, you put it through the formula, and I would have spent, my cost of opportunity for applying to this contest was $769. So, and the process behind this is, at this point, I start a project. I have no money. I don't have a salary. So, do I have money? The answer is no. I don't have money. So I can value this cost of opportunity, but I don't have money to back it up. And the second question I can ask myself back in that space is, can a client give me some money? And back then, no either, because I didn't have any product or service. I was just having an idea. So no. Again, so then you can consider a contest. If a client can give you money, you can leverage it through a subsidy, and you can get much bigger amounts of money. So if a client can give you money, yes, you should consider a subsidy. So this is my first contest that I won, $75,000 with the mayor of Verdun, for which I had spent, or for which my cost of opportunity was $769. So now the economics of a subsidy. What's the difference is now you have money to spend. And how much money can a client give you, the percentage of the subsidy, and then you have the possible subsidy amount. So in this case, again, with my same company, I was having my $7,500. I found a client who was willing to give me a lot more, all this backed up by subsidy, and I was able to get $75,000. And then one thing that is very, very interesting and why subsidies are so important is because subsidies can prevent you from diluting the value of your company when raising funds. But again, it's important to balance the cost of dilution versus the cost of what you'll gain. So here again, I present a formula, and if I'm getting $75,000, the value of my company is $500,000. This is, it's 15%, 15% that I can get through a subsidy versus diluting the company through venture. So it is interesting. And my rule of thumb is, and this varies a lot for size of companies, and you can just run the numbers to have an idea of what it is for you. So here's my $75,000 that I raised for this second venture. So the process. So is the investment worth it? So the numbers that I gave, is the cost of opportunity bigger than the subsidy itself? If yes, or the contest, if yes, go. If no, don't apply. So, and then is the future loss in dilution considerable? I put roughly 1%. It can be different for the size of your company, but 1% is of dilution. Under 1% of dilution, it might not be interesting. You might go get that money and capital and spend a lot less time in the process, and in the end, everything will be, for 1%, it will not be worth it. So yes, then apply. No, don't apply. go to next step. The other factor that is not in here is time. Getting a subsidy is long, so ranging from 6 months to 12 months from the time you apply to the time you get an approval, and then for the time you get money, maybe 18 months. So time is a factor. If you need the money right away, a subsidy is not a good option, unless it's an operational subsidy, as we mentioned R&D credits and things that cover your operational expenses. They're typically, the process is long, but once you get it, you get recurring money that's coming in. So the process is long, but getting the money is fast after. But time is important in your considerations. So where do we find free money? Or does it just fall off the sky? It's everywhere, and literally everywhere. Everyone has free money. Probably the school has grants for students. It's everywhere. Start looking close to you, and then once you find it, you will discover trails of free money leading to more free money. And governments, here in Montreal, there's always organizations that support entrepreneurs. In Montreal, it's PME Montréal, and they have agents. Every level of government have agents or concierge that will tell you where is the free money. So you can talk to these people, and they'll be very much help into directing you. So all levels of governments, municipal, provincial, federal, they all have and each of their ministries have their own subsidies. So here in Quebec, if you're in tech, you should look at the Ministère de la Science et de l'Innovation. They have a lot of money for everything that's operational and everything that is innovation. And then organizations, all the network of incubators and accelerators, they do have amounts of monies. There's private funds, international contests, and Recyc Québec, government organizations that are privately managed or independently managed, like Recyc Québec, also have these types of subsidies. So you look at your own industry. For myself, it's cleantech. So I look at the ministries that work in cleantech. I call the organizations that are the clusters, the cleantech clusters, and these people can lead me to some trails, and then you build yourself an RSS feed. Some of these organizations have RSS feeds, some of them don't, so you can create them. And then you become aware in every moment of what money is available. And this is very important because you typically have 2 months to apply to big subsidies, and if you don't do it, you miss it. And then budgets are for 1 and 2 years, and then you've lost your opportunity. So it's very, very important to work with these concierges or create your RSS feed. And so, how do we build a project for applying to a subsidy? Again, we've mentioned it depends which type of subsidy. If it's operational, then you look at your business, and you can also look within your own company. If you're an employee, you look at what is operational, and you say, okay, so we hire these many people. There is for every dollar spent, money that can be given in subsidy. You just need to figure out which one you want and how to get it. So every single step of your operational expenses can have free money. And then this is operational, and then if you want to innovate, you want to create a new product, or you want to become more performing, you want to commercialize something new, then you go to innovation, and you have to build, just like the contest, a small business plan around your innovation. What gives you credibility, or what increases your chances of getting these subsidies? So if you're small, partnering with bigger organizations who have more credibility will help you. For example, when I got the $75,000, I partnered with one of the biggest wind turbine blade manufacturers in the world. So it gave me credibility. They said, oh, okay, these people, they're giving the money to this unknown person, so we'll do it too. It reduces the risk. So if you're small, go find big partners. And if you're big, help small partners like me. And then the other thing is it's something very basic, but read the proposal, and give them exactly what they are asking for. They become irritated with proposals who do not respect their criteria. So and this is also in a mistake-less. Grammar has to be good, and run it through softwares for preventing spelling mistakes. And then the third one is being a human. When they see your proposal, you're a piece of paper, but if they hear your voice or if they see you, they will create a connection to you, and it will highly increase your chances of getting accepted, because they will know the reasons behind what you write. And then these people, they don't change. So once you talk to a person who is in charge of a subsidy or a subsidy in your sector of industry, it's most likely that person will be in charge of more recurring subsidies. So it's the type of people that you need to create a bond and a long-lasting relation. So yeah, so who do I need to buy a bottle of wine? Everyone. So there's that person who receives the subsidy is a public officer. Of course, that person needs to be within your network. But then that person is going to pass that subsidy or that project to a higher level of executives and functions that will also need to approve. So it's in my current job, I work as public affairs for FENCO, a company in the clean and the transportation. And our most recent subsidy proposal was sent to the executive, and it's 9 steps of approval till the minister signs it. So this is advisors and the ministers. So this is where you have to do lobbying. And for big proposals, this is mandatory, because if they don't know you and if they don't understand what you're doing or see a benefit for themselves, which might not be that clear in your proposal, you need to explain it to them, and they will help you get it. So this is plain lobbying. So a few final thoughts is plan your subsidies within your budget. Don't necessarily do it in response to a call for proposals. Look at look at your business plan and select where you want to get funded, and then it'll just be a process within your year. Ask for help if ever it's your first time that you submit a proposal. Go to your local entrepreneur office, and they will help you build a proposal. Or it's an offer. If anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm available to give a few thoughts on if you need info. And then keep your KPIs. For example, that value that I give to my salary has increased over time, and it becomes an objective that I want to value my time this much. And to get there, I have to, everything in a subsidy, your rate of refusal, why did you get refused? If you get a refusal, pick up the phone and keep track of all these things. So thank you very much for your attention, and I will be taking questions.
I want to know what the impacts are. We're a small business in Quebec City. We
Yep.
used to get subsidies all the time, and we just got bought by an Australian company. which means we're not a Canadian company anymore. What are the impacts on the possibilities of getting those subsidies that we used to get?
If you have an office here, even if you're an Australian company, if you're probably registered, your office will be registered here, and this is fine. In fact, having the government will see this as money coming from outside being poured in the country, so it is good. The government wants to attract foreign investment. So as long as it creates value here, as long as the local jobs, local return on investment, the government measures the return on investment on their subsidies.
So they shouldn't be cutting them off.
No, they change according to the path the government wants to take. But no, this government is investing a lot into developing the economy, so probably we'll see a lot of money pouring in the next years.
All right, thank you.
Hi, thanks a lot for this. Actually, I'm very new to this, but I have a question for you because you said that you should have the access to the ministers and everyone who is going to sign it.
Yeah.
But how do you go about finding and researching, like, okay, who is the one who is actually going to sign it and doing all that research?
So yeah, it's a very good question, and it's not an easy answer. So the entry to knowing all this is going to be the public officer. So you need to use that person to understanding the system around them. And the system is not the same even in local government administrations. The system changes from Ministry of Economic to Ministry of Environment. And then that person is going to tell you, okay, my boss is this guy, and his boss is this guy. And through public information, you can have organograms and probably start tracing down up and bottom up, top down. And then at some point, you find a full list of people. It took me 6 to 7 months to find my trail of people for this subsidy that I just built.
Just to add to this, so how do you approach them? Because they'll think, okay, you are just like kind of approaching them to get your work done, right?
Yeah.
So how do you kind of approach them on this? Like,
it's also a good question. They're used to lobbying. So public officers, you don't lobby. You can lobby public officers, but they're less used to it. People who have political functions are used to being lobbied. So this is fine. You sign off you register yourself as a lobbyist and you request a meeting with them, and most likely you'll get it. And so what do you say in that meeting is you have to. It's like everything else. You have to create a connection with that person. So you have to make them understand what are their objectives and give them something that is going to make them achieve their own objectives. So this is what you have to give them.
great, thank you so much.
Okay, one last question, and then we'll have to go for a break. Thank you. Hi, thank you for this. I have less of a question and more of a comment, just in our own company. I'm Kelly. I'm with a web design company in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. I flew in for the event. It was great. And one of the things that has worked for our company is going to the ministry at hand and introducing yourself, having coffee or whatever, and say, here's our company, here's our raison d'etre, here's our ethos, and here's what we want to do. What do you got for me?
Yeah.
And sometimes they can better pull out the pots of money that they have available and then suggest to you and say, oh, you're a woman in tech, we have a subsidy for $5,000 for new computers. Do you need new computers? Sure. Or we have a subsidy to hire people locally under the age of 35 who are Aboriginal. Great. So then sometimes you can massage, never let go of what your dream and what you want to do and your purpose. But it's amazing how you can expand on your core to take in what's available. And sometimes getting the big cash takes taking something small along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's just something I just wanted to share that worked well for Subsidy. I went to our local provincial government and said, we hire remotely, not just locally. Can you change your program to fit what I need?
Yeah.
And you never know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your comment. It's,
All right, let's thank our speaker. Thank you.